Hello there and a very good evening. Welcome to Primetime News here on News First. Today is the 16th of October 2023. For the News First team, I am Jama Ratnayaka.
And I'm Mariam Ganavijaya. Before we head on to our stories in detail, here's a look at your headlines for tonight.
President leaves for China to attend the Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation. Speaks of a neutral foreign policy again. Will the Chinese research vessels visit to Sri Lanka be delayed? No public mandate to postpone elections, says GL. Sri Lanka sets Australia a target of 210 in their ICC Cricket World Cup encounter.
In our top story for tonight, President Ranil Wickremesinghe, who left the country to attend the third Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation, landed in Beijing, China this morning.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe was welcomed by Chinese government officials and a military guard of honor at the Beijing International Airport. The president is being accompanied by First Lady Maitreyi Wickremesinghe, Minister of Foreign Affairs Ali Sabri and Chief of Staff Sagala Ratnayaka. The third Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation will commemorate the 10th anniversary of the Belt and Road Initiative and will be a crucial platform for relevant parties to advance high-quality cooperation. According to Chinese media, representatives from over 140 countries and 30 international organizations are poised to convene in Beijing for the third Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation.
In the meantime, prior to his trip to China, President Ranil Wickremesinghe took part in an interview with CGTN.
Prior to his trip to China, President Ranil Wickremesinghe took part in an interview with CGTN.
说有一些西方的媒体，他们就在炒作斯里兰卡可能会陷入所谓的债务陷阱。您怎么来看待这种炒作？
නෑ අපි දකින්නේ අපේ වැඩ කටයුතු අපි කරගෙන යනවා. අපිට වාසි නම් අපි ඒවට ඇතුල් වෙනවා. අවාසි නම් ඇතුල් වෙන්නේ නෑ. ඉතින් මේ රටට වාසියක් තියෙන නිසා තමයි චීන එකේ ගණදෙනු කරලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒත් අද ලෝකේ බලවතුන්ගේ විශාල ඝට්ටනයක් තියෙනවා. කොහොමද ඒක වැඩ කටයුතු කරන්න කියලා. ඒ නිසා චීනයෙන් ආරම්භ කරපු BRI එක ගැනත් විශාල ප්‍රශ්න ඇති කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒ අනුව තමයි ලංකාවේ හම්බන්තොට වරායට එහෙම එක එක චෝදනා කරලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒත් අපි මේ වැඩ කටයුතු වලින් සෑහීමකටපත් වෙන නිසා අපි ඉදිරියට යනවා.
那接下来我们就要谈一谈汉班托塔港了，因为确实有一些个别的西方的政客他们在炒作中国威胁论，妄称中国要在这个地方设立军事基地。您会怎么样来回应这个问题？
හම්බන්තොට වරාය සාමාන්‍ය වාණිජ්‍ය වරාය. කොළඹ වාගේ මේ වරාය කළමනාකාරත්වය අපි පිටට දීලා තියෙනවා. කොළඹ අපි දැන් විශේෂයෙන්ම සවුත් ඒෂියා ගේට්වේ කියන සමාගමටත් චයිනා මර්චන්ට් සමාගමටත් ඉන්දියාවේ අඩානි සමාගමටත් බාර දීලා තියෙනවා ඒ වැඩ කටයුතු කරන්න. මෙහි ඒ වැඩ කටයුතු අරගෙන දියුණු කරන්න ඉදිරියට ගෙනියන්න චයිනා මර්චන්ට් සමාගම තමයි ඉදිරිපත් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒක තුල නීතිය ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්නේ පොලිසිය. ඒක තුල කස්ටම්ස් ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්නේ ලංකාවෙන්. ඒක තුල ආරක්ෂාව ඇති කරන්නේ ලංකාවෙන්. ඒතයි බලන්නේ මේක කේන්ද්‍ර ස්ථානයක් කරලා දැන් ආයෝජන කලාපය විශාල එකක් එහි ඇති කරන්නේ.
科考船实验6将会在这个月访问斯里兰卡，并且跟斯里兰卡展开为期3个月的水域研究。可是，在这个问题上，也有一些个别的国家向斯里兰卡施压。我注意到斯里兰卡的外长在纽约参加联大会议的时候，已经非常明确地表示说，斯里兰卡是一个中立国家，对待所有的国家都一视同仁，一律平等。那您在这个问题上的立场是什么样的？
නෑ අපේ රටේ ප්‍රතිපත්තිය විදේශ ඇමතුමා ප්‍රකාශ කරේ චීන එක ගණදෙනු අපි චීන එක කරනවා. ඇමරිකාව එක ගණදෙනු ඇමරිකාව එක කරනවා. ඉන්දියාව එක ගණදෙනු ඉන්දියාව එක කරනවා. ප්‍රංශ එක ගණදෙනු ප්‍රංශ එක කරනවා. ඒවා අපි මිශ්‍ර කරන්නේ නෑ. අපි ස්වාධීන රටක් හැටියට අපිට තියෙන වාසි අවාසි දිහා බලලා ඒ රටවල් එක්ක අපි ගණදෙනු කරන්නේ. ඉතින් එතුමා ඇත්ත කිව්වේ වෙලේ.
当前世界面临100年未有之大变局，习近平主席提出了全球发展倡议、全球安全倡议和全球文明倡议。那您对这3大倡议是怎么来理解的呢？
අපි ඇත්ත වශයෙන්ම සීජීපින් ජනාධිපතිතුමා ප්‍රකාශ කරපු හැටියට අපිට මීට වඩා සම්බන්ධ වෙලා වැඩ කටයුතු කරන්න තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසා මේ යෝජනා ගැන අපේ සහයෝගය තියෙනවා. කොහොමත් ඉතින් අපේ ශිෂ්ටාචාර එක්ක අවුරුදු දහස් ගණක සම්බන්ධයක් තියෙන්නේ. අපි ඒකත් ඉදිරියට ගෙනියන්න ඕනේ. චීනෙන් ලංකාවට ආව එකත් ලංකාවෙන් චීනයට ගිය එකත් බලන සම්බන්ධයක් තියෙන එකට මේ අලුත් යෝජනා අපි එකතු කරගෙන ඉදිරියට යන්න එකයි තියෙන්නේ. අපිට උමනාවේ තියෙන දියුණු ශ්‍රී ලංකාවක් ඇති කරගන්න. 2048 වෙනකොට අපේ 100 වන වසර වෙනකොට දියුණු රටක් හැටියට ඉදිරියට යන්න. එතකොට චීනේ 2049 100 වසර වෙනකොට අපිට එකට ඒ ගමන යන්න පුළුවන්.
The president in this interview confirmed the foreign minister's statement in New York on the 23rd of September regarding the Chinese vessel not being granted permission to enter the country. In his statement on the 23rd of September, the foreign minister said Sri Lanka places high importance on India's concerns regarding the arrival of the Shi Yan 6 vessel. He went on to note that India's legal considerations regarding this matter are also of extreme importance to Sri Lanka. The Shi Yan 6 was scheduled to arrive in the island on the 25th of October. The Chinese research vessel Shi Yan 6, which has been the topic of much controversy in recent months, currently is positioned in the southeastern coast of Sri Lanka. The ship travelled at about 465 nautical miles away from the island today. According to the automatic identification system, this research ship had entered Sri Lanka's exclusive economic zone over the past 2 days. India is paying close attention to the trajectory of the vessel in its journey towards Sri Lanka and has informed diplomats of the highest level in this regard.
Sri Lanka's Foreign Minister Ali Sabri says it is important for the country to make the right calls in important investment decisions. He made these remarks in an interview with Channel News Asia.
Much has been said about China's role and its investment in Sri Lanka. How would you describe China's relationship with Sri Lanka in its time of crisis?
It is very important for us. China's investment is very, very important because the countries like Sri Lanka need investment. In 2009, when we defeated LTTE and brought peace to this country, we were in need of massive investment. We didn't only invite the Chinese, we made it open to the whole world. So some of the other countries would want to wait and see, but China took the risk, invested, and I thought we are grateful for that. And going forward for the next phase of our development is growth oriented. Growth means somebody need to put money into it. That means investment. So I think amongst the major players right now in the world, China has a hefty pocket. They are waiting for investment. We are part of the strategic part of their BRI initiative. So for us, Chinese investment are important and we look forward for that investment.
Does Sri Lanka feel like it's caught up in a big power play?
We stand in the middle. We don't take sides. We don't want tension with anyone. We will not allow anyone to use our backyard to threaten any other country or to build their military bases. That's for sure. But we have strategic relationship with all of them. Our biggest market is US. That is where our products are going. India, our neighbor and biggest trading partner, and last year India helped us to bail out us from a very difficult situation. China is our long-standing friend, both in international arenas. They have stood by Sri Lanka in thick and thin, and also biggest investor in the country. So all in all these countries are important for us, and then our relationship is very transparent, and we have always asked for peaceful settlement of all disputes.
US Ambassador to Sri Lanka Julie Chung says that the United States share resources and best practices that help Sri Lanka protect its economic resources.
The conference on ocean security, South Asia and the Indian Ocean was held in Colombo today. The conference was organized by the Regional Center for Strategic Studies. US Ambassador to Sri Lanka Julie Chung was the chief guest of the event.
I want you to know that the United States recognizes and respects Sri Lanka's aspirations and objectives. We recognize Sri Lanka as an equal on the world stage, making decisions aligned with its values and the needs and interests of its people. Indeed, those principles help to guide our bilateral relationship during this 75th year anniversary of our relationship. When it comes to maritime security and maritime domain awareness, The U.S. leads the way in enhancing and expanding Sri Lanka's capacity to uphold its maritime sovereignty. We share resources and best practices that help Sri Lanka protect its economic resources and respond to transnational criminal activity in its territorial waters and exclusive economic zone. Piracy, armed robbery at sea, trafficking all degrade maritime security. We all know that. Illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing threatens the entire region's blue economies, an essential element to the prosperity of future generations. When a country prioritizes sovereignty, transparency, good governance, sensible reforms, and engaging all stakeholders in democratic fashion, there is no end to the potential of Sri Lanka's critical role in the Indo-Pacific. So as we listen today to the presentations and hear about the research and theories of today's presenters, the U.S. will stand shoulder to shoulder with Sri Lanka, with all of you and your nations to be ambitious. Let us be ambitious, to look for ways more to work collaboratively to further our shared vision for a peaceful, prosperous, and resilient Indian Ocean region.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, the leader of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, which holds a majority in the current government, visited the Palestine embassy in Sri Lanka today.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa stated that he met with the ambassador and discussed the situation that has arisen in Palestine owing to the Israel-Hamas war.
පලස්තීන තානාපතිතුමා හම්බ වෙන්න ආවේ. ඒතුමත් එක්ක කතා කරලා මේ යනවා.
ඒක මොකද හිතන්නේ මේ සම්බන්ධව සාමාන්‍යයෙන්?
නේද මේක කොහොම කරත් යුද්ධයක් කරනකොට අපි ඒක යුද්ධයට විරුද්ධයිනේ. මේවා සාකච්ඡා මාර්ගයේ විසඳ ගන්න.
සර් දේශපාලන කටයුතු කොහොමද ඉදිරියට?
කරගෙන යනවා.
The Frontline Socialist Party expressed their views at a press conference held in Colombo today.
We should not express our sympathy, but this is a political issue. We should express our stance when it comes to political issues. Ranil Wickremesinghe expressed his stance with great difficulty. Where is Mahinda Rajapaksa's stance? He is not expressing his true stance on the matter. If he steps out, he will have to say that he is in favor of the liberation struggle of the Palestinian people. He will have to say something that the world accepts. Without saying that, he is going to the embassy to extend his sympathy. He is siding with Israel. You cannot do that, and we will not allow it to happen in the future. We believe Mahinda Rajapaksa's fraudulent acts should be exposed.
Following Hamas's unprecedented surprise attack on Israel more than a week ago, much of the international community rushed to voice its concern about the escalation in tensions.
However, as Israel continues to bomb Gaza and attack Palestinians in the occupied West Bank, several governments have started to turn critical of Israel's actions, some more directly than others. The Palestinian Health Ministry says more than 2,600 people have died as Israel pounds Gaza with strikes.
UN Humanitarian Office warns that Gaza hospital's last reserves of fuel will probably run out in a few hours. Israel and Hamas both deny reports of ceasefire in southern Gaza after security sources in Egypt said such a deal was due. Rescuers say more than 1,000 Palestinians are missing under the rubble of buildings destroyed by Israeli air attacks on Gaza. Israel has deployed thousands of troops, tanks and weaponry along the border fence with Gaza amid expectations it will soon begin a ground invasion. US President Joe Biden warns Israel that any occupation of Gaza would be a big mistake, says he supports creation of humanitarian corridor.
What happened in Gaza, in my view, is Hamas and the extreme elements of Hamas don't represent all the Palestinian people. And I think that it would be a mistake for Israel to occupy Gaza again. But to going in and taking out the extremists, the Hezbollah is up north, but Hamas down south is a necessary requirement.
Do you believe that Hamas must be eliminated entirely?
Yes, I do. But there needs to be a Palestinian Authority. There needs to be a path to a Palestinian state.
Experts say that if, as expected, Israel sends ground troops into the besieged Gaza Strip, it will be responsible for any civilian casualties. Israel's top military spokesperson says the decision to evacuate about 28 communities along the border with Lebanon was taken to reduce the risk of casualties among civilians and to allow the army wide offensive freedom if required. The Arab League chief has called for an immediate end to military operations in Gaza and for aid to be allowed into the besieged enclave. Thousands of Palestinian civilians on the 13th of October began to flee to southern Gaza after the Israeli military ordered people in the north to evacuate. They highlighted safe routes for people to take and said they would refrain from bombing until 8 p.m. However, videos emerged on social media of a convoy being bombed. At least 70 people, mainly women and children, were killed in the attack. Al Jazeera's investigations team Sanad investigated these videos to verify their accuracy. The investigation team was able to narrow down the time of the bombing to a window between 4:30 p.m. and 5:15 p.m.
Days after the controversy surrounding the substandard drug human immunoglobulin that entered the hospital system through the Medical Supplies Division came to light, a responsible faction has still not been identified.
According to the National Medicines Regulatory Authority, the sole regulatory body in Sri Lanka for medicine and medical supplies, the drugs were supplied using a forged letter, and it has piled the blame on the Medical Supplies Division.
The Medical Supplies Division, on the other hand, has pointed its finger at the NMRA.
This stock of substandard drugs that mysteriously made its way into the hospital system was administered on multiple patients, including children. Are the lives of the masses a joke to responsible authorities?
Human immunoglobulin is a drug manufactured with human blood. What would happen if these injections contained a dangerous virus such as HIV or hepatitis?
මේ human immunoglobulin කියන බෙහෙත ඇත්තටම කියනවා නම්
The human immunoglobulin drug is made by obtaining blood from a large number of people, and the immunoglobulin component is separated from the blood and administered to people as an injection. We obtain a pint of blood from one person and give it to another. If the person donating the pint of blood has any disease like HIV, hepatitis B, hepatitis C or any other disease found in blood, there is a risk of the person receiving the blood catching the disease, so the blood is chosen very carefully. If it is not, then the human immunoglobulin is taken from one person and given to another. Blood is obtained from a large group of people and the components are separated to make one vial to be administered to an individual. If the drug is manufactured in a substandard manner, the person receiving the human immunoglobulin drug faces a risk of contracting dangerous and deadly diseases that are transmitted through blood like HIV, hepatitis B or hepatitis C.
රුධිරගත අති භයානක මාරාන්තික ලෙඩක් හැදීමේ අවදානම තියෙනවා.
How did the State Pharmaceuticals Corporation of Sri Lanka purchase 22,500 vials of a medicine that should be handled with extreme caution and went on to release over 3,000 vials of it to the Medical Supplies Division without any accountability? It was only revealed that the drug was substandard after patients who received it developed complications. This drug was imported through a waiver of registration, a process which allows for emergency purchasing of medicines, sans NMRA registration. Although the company which supplied the drug presented a letter claiming approval was granted to import the medicine without NMRA approval, the NMRA says it is a forged letter.
The NMRA has no authority over the purchase of medicine or any connection to it.
More details on this matter have now come to light. Can the NMRA, that is attempting to absolve itself of this scam, provide a solution to this matter? Although the NMRA claims that the letter is forged, the letter directed to the relevant company by the Secretary to the Ministry of Health states that a copy of it was forwarded to the CEO of the NMRA. Is this another lie? When we inquired from the member of the Board of Directors of the NMRA, Attorney Manoj Gamage, he said he was unaware of receiving such a letter. However, after rechecking this afternoon, the CEO of the NMRA said he had received the letter on the 4th of January via fax. CEO of the NMRA, Vijit Gunasekara, said he did not take any action as the letter only mentioned the entity but had not mentioned the drug. According to this letter, the entity in question had sought permission from the Ministry of Health to import medicine under the Indian credit line. The Health Ministry had granted permission on the condition that the medicines be presented for NMRA approval after being imported. Can the NMRA's claims of not knowing the ambiguity surrounding the supply in question be accepted, although it claims it was unaware of this entire saga? The NMRA had confirmed on several previous occasions that the medicines manufactured by the company in question were substandard on the basis that the factory constructed in Sri Lanka did not meet required standards. Many more loopholes can be highlighted regarding this incident. The simple question is, can any drug be imported through the main gates of the Medical Supplies Division using any forged document? Can these drugs be directed to hospitals? Do institutions maintained through millions of rupees of the public's money function in such an irresponsible manner? Who is responsible for this? Is no one willing to investigate this and bring those responsible to book?
News first with the people.
Protests organized by the Public Service Trade Union took place across the country today.
The protest highlighted several demands, including a salary increment of 20,000 rupees to match the rising cost of living, safeguarding pension funds and withdrawing suppressive laws. The main protest was held opposite the Colombo Divisional Secretariat.
This is a time when, although the cost of living has tripled, the salary of state sector employees has not increased by 5 cents. Members of Parliament say they cannot live. If that's so, can the common people, who are the majority of people in this country, live?
This is the protest held opposite the Soranathura Divisional Secretariat.
We know that when the government employees call for a salary increase, the benefits of the ministers in this country are increased. We know that after the increase in fuel prices, MPs' fuel allowances were increased. Therefore, the government prioritizes themselves over the state sector employees and the people of this country.
Protests were also held opposite the Ampara Divisional Secretariat and Mulatiana Divisional Secretariat at noon today. These are some of the other protests held today.
A protest organized by the Youth for Change organization was held in Petta this afternoon. The protest was held to voice concerns over a government without the people's mandate, decisions taken with the IMF and interventions by the US and India regarding affairs of the state. Heavy police presence was seen around the area.
Under the guise of debt restructuring, the government is planning to get its hands on the ETF and EPF that are considered the funds of the poor and innocent working people of Sri Lanka. As of today, the United States and India have come down, and India is planning to take over the energy sovereignty of Sri Lanka. A bridge connecting India and Sri Lanka is being created, and Ranil Wickremesinghe is even ready to bring down Indian companies and hand over control of dairy farming to India. All that is called the American Indian Center. China and the IMF are the puppet masters controlling Ranil and the Rajapaksas.
The protest took place for more than 1 hour.
Minister of Justice Dr. Vijaydas Rajapaksa says that he will discuss with the party leaders on the draft laws related to changing the electoral system on Wednesday under the auspices of the Prime Minister. At a conference held in Colombo today, the minister said that an electoral system is a people's demand.
The conference was organised under the initiative of former Speaker Karu Jayasuriya by the National Movement for a Just Society to discuss the executive presidential system and electoral reforms. A small group of political party representatives and civil activists were present at the conference.
There are 160 electorates in this country. What was proposed is to elect ministers to those electorates using the post method. However, there is room for the multi-constituency system to be implemented as well. There are 225 ministers, so there will be 65 remaining. The question is whether these 65 will be appointed through a district list, a provincial list or a national list. I cannot say anything about how this will be decided because when this is presented to Parliament, we must count 150 votes. Therefore, we allowed room for political parties to discuss this. Next Wednesday, under the chairmanship of the Prime Minister, we will discuss this with the leaders of the parties in Parliament. These leaders know that this is something that the public is asking for. If you look at everything negatively, nothing will move forward.
The Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna says that they will not support the postponement of the election.
As a party, we believe that the people in a democratic country have the right to express their opinions and the right to appoint the leaders they want, and we should do nothing to interfere with that right. I would like to state that the SLPP is in no way prepared to postpone the elections or to support or aid such an act. We are in no way afraid to face the election. We hope to face elections very soon and show the true strength of our party to the people of this country.
අපේ පක්ෂයේ සත්‍ය ශක්තිය මේ රටේ ජනතාවට පෙන්වා දීම.
The Radical Democratic Power responded to a statement made by the SLPP today.
Before Sagar calls for an election, we would like to tell him that it wasn't the people or the Argale that appointed the president, it was the SLPP. If so, the SLPP should know to fight with the president to conduct the election. It is not us that should resolve this issue with Ranil. The uncivilized members of the SLPP who appointed Ranil Wickremesinghe as the incumbent president should decide to urge him to conduct elections or use their power in parliament.
Professor G.L. Pires said the present government does not have a public mandate to amend the constitution.
The Justice Minister has presented a series of proposals to the Cabinet to make initial amendments to the parliamentary electoral system. Our stance regarding this is clear. They need a public mandate to carry this program forward. Changing this constitution from its roots is no simple task. Much thought needs to be put into this process. They need a parliament that accurately represents the current people's mandate. No one can fairly argue that it is the state of today's parliament. It is clear to everyone that today's parliament is outdated. It does not reflect the people's mandate today.
Speaking at the President's Media Centre today, MP Vajra Abeyewardene said the online safety bill needs to be passed for Sri Lanka to become into a country like Singapore.
Facebook ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා, Twitter ඇවිල්ලා තිබෙනවා, TikTok ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා, Instagram ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා, YouTube ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා.
There are various platforms like Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram and YouTube. The countries which introduced these to the world have formulated laws to control them. Recently, 58 types of platforms were banned in India and they have introduced new laws. North Korea and Iran have done the same. Through the bill presented by Sri Lanka, we can control the spread of posts inciting racism and false propaganda using fake numbers by people who have left Sri Lanka and are hiding overseas. Isn't that good? We can't say it's bad. It is important to regulate. This bill will help regulate the media movement in Sri Lanka and strengthen it. According to leaders of political parties, we are following the footsteps of developed countries. I believe this should be passed by the Sri Lankan parliament because we need to transform Sri Lanka into Singapore.
Sri Lanka parliament තුල සම්මත කළ යුතුයි. මොකද ලංකාව සිංගප්පූරුවක් කළ යුතුයි.
Is MP Vajra Abeyewardene's statement true? The trade union stated that the purpose of these laws is to suppress social media and deprive them of fundamental rights. They made these remarks during a press conference held in Colombo.
This is the online safety bill. Not a single person understands when it is said like this. This name is so vague and difficult for people to comprehend. Online safety bill. This was introduced to restrict, ban and prevent the use of social media. Hence, it is not entirely entirely about the safety. These are the fundamental rights that have been confirmed and protected by the Constitution. They are trying to violate all that from this act. The power to deal with fundamental rights is back in the hands of the President. Any person with a smartphone has an opportunity to express their objection against the severe oppression in this country and take action against the government through it. As a trade union, we also use social media a lot. Through that, we have got the opportunity to express our trade union activities and objections, and the government is afraid of this. That is why this act has been brought to suppress the media, including social media, by using the name of the online safety bill.
The Public Utilities Commission has informed the Ceylon Electricity Board that the data presented by the CEB to increase the electricity tariffs is not in line with Sri Lanka's state of affairs.
The Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka had directed the letter to the General Manager of the Ceylon Electricity Board. The PUCSL has requested the CEB to submit the most recent statistics before October 18th. The PUCSL highlights that the data from September 4th to 26th are not up to date. It points out that despite the daily electricity demand was predicted at 44.7 gigawatts per hour for September, the actual demand stood at 41.01 gigawatts per hour. Meanwhile, the hydropower generation has also increased compared to the statistics specified in the CEB report. The PUCSL said that the predictions on the electricity generated using coal is also inconsistent.
Day 36 of the second leg of the Davia program organized by the LOLC group got underway today. Today's program was held centering the Ampara district.
The second leg of the LOLC Davia program targets Sri Lankan schools with less than 100 students. School books and stationery items were distributed among students of the Semmannai Pulai Ganesh Vidyalaya, Tirakenei Tamil School, Arunothe College, GTM Vidyalaya in Panama, Vishwa Tulsi College, Gayatri College, Palakkuda Palaviyanagar College, Kanchikudyaru Ganesha College, Tirupati Government Tamil School, Vedikumra Vidyalaya and the Manal Chenai Government Tamil School. This worthy initiative is a collaboration between the LOLC Group and the Ministry of Education. The LOLC Davia program will continue to create a bright future for the country's student population.
On to weather-related news. The Department of Irrigation informed the public to remain vigilant regarding flash floods that may be experienced with heavy showers. This is due to a low possibility of issuing early warnings regarding such floods.
Many low-lying areas in the Mathura district remain inundated as the water that overflowed from the Nilvala river is receding at a very slow pace. Totupala Road in Nadugala, Mathura has been inundated for over 3 weeks. The sanitary systems of houses have overflowed and the displaced people are stuck at camps along the Nadugala Bund.
දැනට වතුර බැහිලා ගියත් අපිට ඉන්න කියන්න පිරිසිදුතාවයක් ගෙවල් වල නැහැ පාරේ වතුර අපිට කර කියා ගන්න දෙයක් නැහැ ලෙඩ්ඩු ඉන්නවා දැන් රස්සාවකට යන්න දෙයක් නැහැ.
Houses in several areas including Hittatiya, Bothuragama and Tudava also remain inundated, affecting the people's daily lives. People who are unable to go to their homes are seeking shelter at the Hittatiya Rajamaha Viharaya and other temples.
Businessman Daniel Noboa is to become the youngest president in Ecuador's history at 35 years old.
Businessman Daniel Noboa won yesterday's election with 52.3% of the vote, ahead of Luisa Gonzalez 47.7%. She conceded defeat and congratulated her rival. The 35-year-old of the National Democratic Action Party is the son of Alvaro Noboa, who ran unsuccessfully for the presidency 5 times. Noboa will only have 17 months in office. He will govern only to May 2025 due to the fact that the current election was triggered early when outgoing President Guillermo Lasso dissolved parliament amid an impeachment trial. He can run again for the 2025-29 presidential term if he wishes to.
The official ICC Men's Cricket World Cup India 2023.
Another encounter of the ICC Cricket World Cup 2023 was underway in Lucknow between Sri Lanka and Australia. Earlier in the day, Sri Lanka opted to bat first and they were dismissed for 209 runs. Australia, chasing a target of 210 for victory, secured victory by only losing 5 wickets in the 35th over and recorded their first victory of the ICC Cricket World Cup 2023. However, Sri Lanka remain winless in the tournament after being played 3 matches so far. Taking a look at news from the world of rugby, the lineup for the semi-finals of the Rugby World Cup 2023 has been confirmed. MTV Channel Private Limited is the official broadcast rights holder in Sri Lanka and is proud to bring you action of the twists and turns of the drama of all the semi-final matches. The tournament is being broadcast live on TV1 and being streamed live on www.sirosatv.lk.
World number 8 ranked side Argentina, semi-finalist in 2007 and 2015, will take on 3-time champions New Zealand. Rugby World Cup 2003 winners England play reigning champions South Africa, who are searching for a record 4th title. All matches will take place at Stade de France in St. Denis.
And with that, we wrap up Primetime News tonight.
Thank you for stopping by. Good night.